Today I come as a community organizer that has lived in Pasco County all my life. My family has lived in Pasco County since 1925. So we've been a part of the fabric of this community for a very long time. Today I'm very concerned about the state of our district and what's going on in Pasco County. Right now, as we know, SNAP benefits are on hold. Families are going hungry right before Thanksgiving. Veterans are going hungry. People are out in the community with no homes, no shelter, and it seems to be getting worse. So I'm hoping today, seeing all of you, I know you're getting ready to go back to Tallahassee, go back into legislative session. My hope and my prayers is that you look deeply on what's going on and offer some remedies and solutions that could help. I volunteered for Messages of Hope Food Bank, and I can tell you now they're running out of food. People are starving, and people will continue to starve. People I know have contacted me and said they've lost their Medicaid benefits. Veterans, children have lost their benefits. People are going to die if leadership does not take this seriously. And also, as a historian, I would also like to speak on a couple of things. I know that most of you have voted for legislation in the past. As an African American, I must stand here today and tell you that African Americans have been a part of this country since its founding. African Americans have fought in every war since 1776. In World War I, under General Blackjack Pershing, African Americans were the first to go to the battlefield and fight in France. Today, I am seeing on a state level, I wouldn't say the erasing of Black history, but certainly the watering down. It is concerning to me, it's concerning to all of us. We all have children. So why are we not telling the accurate history? Black history is American history. You cannot talk about one and not talk about the other. We are connected at the hip. So I'd like to leave you with one of my favorite poets. As Maya Angelou once said, history, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but is faced with courage, not be lived again. How is our legislators going to ensure that our students are given the courage and the full truth to face history, rather than a softened version of it? How do we ensure that our kids are learning what really happened during slavery? Because I can tell you right now, not one of my ancestors benefited from it. So thank you all for being here today and giving us your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Ronald Bradford. Is he here?
That was NASCAR. I was about to take off. I want to first off thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Bless this county, bless our community, and we're so fortunate. I want to thank all our deputies. I know you see a few more than usual. It's just unfortunate nature of the world that we live in. And we want to make sure it's law and order, and we also want to make sure bad people realize it's not going to happen in this county. The other one, too, is I want to thank all our veterans. Appreciate their service to this country. Without them, we wouldn't have the country we are. And also to let you know, we are hiring. So if any veterans are interested, the Pasco Sheriff's Office is hiring. I want to thank President Hall for allowing us to be here today. It took a year extra for President Hall to be here, but God has got him here, and I will tell you, he'll be our best president this university, this college has had. And Commissioner Yeager, I know she had to take off, but that partnership working with her and the commission has been very good. So I want to thank our delegation. Your support has been tremendous over the years, and one thing about it, nobody should ever question, is your support for law enforcement. There has been absolutely, this board, this delegation has had the strongest support for law enforcement. We appreciate it. And the phone calls when you say, hey, how does this affect you all? We thank you for that. I want to thank the delegation. Last year, you continued to provide us capital needs, and also for peer support protection, which helped our members who were at horrific scenes. And so when they deal with post-traumatic stress, your support has helped them better to deal with mental health and mental stress. We're looking forward this year to continue to work with Senator Hooper and with Representative Yeager. Thank you both very much. We're looking at the capital needs to address our response to critical needs and critical incidents. So I also want to take a moment of personal privilege. Later today, we're going to hear from Shawnee Hall. Mrs. Hall tragically lost her son to an overdose and has made it her mission to make sure no parent has to ever deal with that again. I have met with Mrs. Hall, and we continue to work diligently to hold those who would provide narcotics in our community accountable. But there are legal barriers, which you will hear about today. I support Mrs. Hall's efforts and would encourage you to hear her concerns. I can tell you there is unintended consequences, unfortunately, sometimes when legislation is made, and it was made in good intentions, but unfortunately, criminals are using it to their advantage, and you'll hear about what Mrs. Hall is going to talk about. So I want to thank you all again, appreciate all your support. I can't say it enough. For all the members, you have done a phenomenal job, and our jobs are difficult, they get more difficult, and just ask any of our deputies here, they'll tell you that. But to be able to know that we have people in Tallahassee that support us, it makes it so much easier. So thank you all very much. God bless you and have a great day.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Next is,
Thank you, Chairman. Normally a tax collector doesn't get an applause, but I appreciate that. Well, good morning, and thank you for allowing me to say a few words this morning. I want to thank you all for the great work you do for Pasco County. Our delegation is second to none. Our first responders, led by Sheriff Nocco, are second to none as well. There's an issue that's going to come up before you this year, and that's property taxes. And just like all of you as being Republicans, I'm a conservative Republican, I'd love to see property taxes be reduced. So would all those who pay me a payment every year would like to see their taxes be reduced. I need to impress something to you, and Representative Maggard had a great gathering of our constitutional officers not long ago, and I appreciate what you did there to hear from the constitutional officers of how it's going to impact their office. 95% of those who we serve that come into our 5 offices, the 50 to 60,000 people a month that come in our offices, we service them with motor vehicle services, driver licenses, title work, things like that. 95% of those people come in our offices for that service. Motor vehicle services in this county and every other county in the state, the tax collector is in the red. We lose money on motor vehicle services. You may come into our office and renew your registration, that's about $80 or $90, I get $3 out of it. You may renew your driver's license at $53.25, I get $6.25. We lose $4 million a year in motor vehicle services at this county. I can tell you, every other county, 66 counties, they lose money as well. People ask me, well, how do you fill that void? By collecting property taxes. You see, we get no money from the state. We get no money from the county, nor do we get any money from the federal government. Our money comes from the services we provide. So if you're going to reduce or take away property taxes, that's great. But someone's going to have to fill that void of my budget of $20 million a year, because I still have to serve those 50 to 60,000 people a month in those 5 offices. They will need to get service. Those 95% of the people that come in our offices are still going to want to renew their registration, replace that driver's license, maybe get a new driver's license, a learner's permit, need to transfer a Florida title. That's 95% of the people that walk in our offices every month. So it's important that you understand that whatever you do with property taxes, it will have a huge impact on the tax collector offices. If you reduce property taxes and do away with them, that's great. But I still have to see and serve those 50 to 60,000 people a month at a cost of just over $20 million. That's just one county. 67 counties take a loss in motor vehicle services. In fact, every county in the state subsidizes the Florida Highway Safety Motor Vehicle, the trust fund you guys get to spend. That's money that you won't be getting any longer, because I'm going to have a huge shortfall if taxes are reduced or property taxes are done away with. And I'm all for it. That's great. Just make sure that you understand that somebody has to fill that void, because those 50 to 60,000 people that we serve each month are not going anywhere else. They're still going to show in my offices. I still have to have the staff. I still have to pay the bills. Someone's going to have to pick up that void. I thank you very much. God bless you.
Good morning, and what a glorious morning it is. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I too want to thank our veterans, because without them we wouldn't live in this free country, and I wouldn't be here right now being able to talk with each and every one of you. So I appreciate the opportunity. And so I'm here to talk about what priorities that the clerks are putting forward this year to our legislative priorities. And it'll come as no shock or surprise that I'm going to address and talk about our funding shortfall in the clerk's world. And it relates to our court-related activities. So I wanted to talk with you a little bit about that. I'll do it briefly. I want to talk about the problem and our proposed solutions. We have actually quite a few priorities that we'll be presenting to help solve the problem. So let me explain a little bit. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So my office performs a court-related function. The court is a third branch of government, right? And it is funded through the state general appropriations process. However, the functions that my office performs for the court is not funded by the state. There is a small portion that is reimbursed for jury, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about running the day-to-day operations of the clerk's office is not funded from the state. What is it funded by? User fees. So if a customer comes into the office, wants a service, we charge a fee for that service. So where's the authority for us to charge those fees? It is in Florida statutes. So that's why I'm here today to ask you to consider our legislative priorities, because you have the power and the authority to change those user fees. So just like Mr. Pisano said, our fees are also not sufficient to perform the work that we're doing. Let me explain that. So our fees have been the same since 2008. 17 years of charging the same fee for the services that has increased over time because of expenses, just even simply due to inflation. So I'm trying to run a business in 2025, but using 2008 pricing. That is unsustainable for any business out there. Look at any trade business or professional business like a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant. If they were to perform services for you today, and you'd ask them, hey, but can you only charge me the 2008 prices? They wouldn't be able to do it because it'd go out of business. So now the clerks are so thin, there is no fat, they're cutting into the bone. And it is critical for us to get the proper funding we need. So here is one of our solutions. With your help is to increase those user fees. And then so that we don't get into this situation in the future, we are looking to tie the fee structure to the consumer price index and have it reviewed every 3 years so that we can have a fix going forward so that we're constantly coming back and asking for additional funding for our services. We have many other priorities. That's the one I'm going to talk about today, but I'm happy to talk with you further. I'm happy to meet with you here in Pasco. I'm happy to go to Tallahassee and meet with you and talk with you. I will be in Tallahassee in January, and I will try to set up time to meet with each and every one of you. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those as well. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for all that you do for the state of Florida. I think you all are amazing, and I'm happy to be able to have each and every one of you represent Pasco County. So thank you for your service.
Thank you, Councilor Lord.
Good morning. It's wonderful to see you again. You've received copies of the Pasco County Schools legislative platform, and I'm certain we'll discuss those topics with you soon. However, my purpose today is to simply express our gratitude. We truly appreciate your attention to 3 important concerns during last year's legislative session. First, you approved funding for sidewalks used by students walking and biking to school. Second, you modified the school safety statute. Third, you introduced more flexibility in school start times. Each of these measures enhanced school safety, improved their daily school experience, and increased our schools' efficiency. We've always valued working together with our legislative delegation and look forward to ongoing collaboration. If there's any way that we can support you in the upcoming legislative session, please let us know. Thank you.
And after that, we'll have Chopper Davis from the City of Newport Richey.
First, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for each and every one of you. Thank you for all that you do for our educational system, for your responsiveness to our calls. And a couple weeks ago, many of you were able to attend a kind of a discussion about this kind of the state of education here in Pasco, where we're able to send your staff or called, and we were able to kind of talk one-on-one about those issues. So first, I just want to say thank you for that. Thank you for being responsive. And just to kind of reiterate a little bit of what our chair said, there were 3 issues I want to bring up just to say specifically thank you individual, our delegation, for advocating for. First, specifically, Representative Yeager on dealing with our school security tweaks. Kind of ran point on that. As you know, school security is, as mentioned earlier, one of our #1 priorities, or is our #1 priority. But with all the nuances of it, you allowed us some flexibility to keep our schools safe, but also to make sure that they can be run efficiently, and to help our parents and our teachers move around our campuses freely and interact with our students. The second issue I want to bring up, which you haven't heard much about, but your leadership has really helped us, is dealing with attendance and truancy in our school system. Kind of as we got out of this COVID years, it seems as though many families feel that school is an option and that attendance is an option, and their academics have suffered. You have put teeth into the legislation that has allowed us to create some policies and procedures, and we are starting to see results of that. We have more work to do in partnering with our families to ensure attendance goes back to kind of pre-COVID levels. But thank you for that leadership in that area. The other area I wanted to specifically speak to is thank you to Representative Burgess, and just navigating the world of education funding, specifically as it goes to kind of the add-ons dealing with acceleration and career technical education funding. It's a complicated area, and last year there was a lot of moving parts, and both chambers kind of came together and worked to kind of create a compromise to secure those needed funding for acceleration and kind of acceleration option and career technical funding. There are no shortage of challenges in education, and there are no shortage of opinions on how to address those challenges. But I want to bring up 3 kind of opportunities that we want to work with you on this legislative session as you navigate it. The first is just dealing with career-connected learning. That is a high priority here in Pasco County. We have some exciting opportunities dealing with expanding the medical pathways with some of our partners, specifically Advent Health, which you'll be hearing, I believe, later on today from them just about all the exciting things happening in Pasco. But we have some great partnerships. We're looking in Pasco specifically to increase our career-connected pathways in medical fields, in our schools here next year. And there is some legislation that we could use to allow us some flexibility in hiring, flexibility in paying our teachers, because as you know, these teachers are your non-traditional teachers in those courses, and we could use some flexibility there. The second issue is dealing with some of the flexibility that you have allowed in statute for our opportunity schools. What are our opportunity schools? Those are those schools that are really struggling academically. You've allowed us some flexibility in our teacher pay and how we address in those schools. However, we want to be very specific, and we're working very closely with DOE. It only affects instructional staff currently. We have significant challenges with our non-instructional staff, bus drivers, food services, other non-instructional staff. Allow us that same flexibility that you use in instructional staff with our non-instructional staff. That way we can make those opportunity schools soar as well. And that is a high priority of us here in Pasco County this year. The third issue I want to bring to your attention that we're seeing statewide, and as I work with my national friends all over the U.S., we're seeing it nationally, so I can't tell you the cause, but I'm just going to tell you the numbers, and you can kind of intuitively understand the impact. We have had this year a 30% increase in the number of students with disability. 30% increase in the students with number of disabilities. That is a significant challenge for any classroom. Pasco is not alone. Pasco is not alone in this challenge. As you know, we want to provide service to those students. We want to provide the best care that we can, the best educational environment. But it is a challenge. It is expensive. It is very expensive. And the administration and working with our parents is intensive for those students with disability. We are seeing an exponential growth in autism. We're seeing an exponential number in other diagnoses as well into our mainstream classrooms and our non-mainstream classrooms. That is a challenge that we will have to face as a state, and we are facing here head-on in Pasco County to ensure that those students get the best quality education as possible, but at the same time ensuring the other students as well are getting quality education as well. So as we walk into that, I just want to put that number of a 30% increase this year compared to last year in students with disability. That number is indeed a challenge. And so as you navigate the process, our team will be working with you. As you know, we have good relationships with House and Senate and many of the staff and leadership, and we speak to them frequently on the nuances, and nuances are important in education, but we would love to continue our relationship, and thank you for your leadership. And I just want to reiterate what someone said before. I really hope that you are out in 60 days, because I know the stress level that it causes on you guys. And we wish for a speedy session and a successful session. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Mr. Chair. Senator Hooper.
Before Dr. Legg leaves, I just want to make sure everybody in this room knows that your work in the Florida legislature and the education world does not go unnoticed. Pasco is also blessed to have the K-12 appropriations chairman sitting in the seat next to me. Now, I can tell you the hours this gentleman puts in and tries to do the work that needs to be done. Neither he or I get to set the dollar amount that we allocate, but this man works hard, and I'm proud of Senator Burgess and our commitment to you this year and to the other 66 counties. We're going to find a better way to account for our opportunity scholarships so that our districts don't suffer the shortfall you're currently enduring. So thank you for everything you do, John.
Thank you. And I just want to say thank you, and thank you again, Senator Hooper and Senator Burgess. It's hard to call him Senator Burgess because we knew each other in high school or college many times, so I've known him for a long time, and he is on my speed dial and frequent texts, and he probably gets tired of hearing from me. He's a good friend.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next, we have Shopper Davis, City of Newport Richey.
I brought part of my support system. Matt Murphy is the deputy mayor. I'd just like to thank you firstly all taking the time to come here and speak with the citizens, and especially Senator Hooper and Brad Yeager, Representative Yeager, because that's people who represent our district. But I'd like to talk to you a second about Newport Richey and the growth in there. You noticed downtown and the growth downtown with the Hacienda, the theater, and all the events that go on in the theater. Well, we've extended it down 19 from the new sign, which everybody now knows where Newport Richey is. I mean, you go from Skyway Bridge to Citrus County, you don't know where you are unless you saw the green sign that says where you're at. So that's really helped out a lot downtown. We've also started to develop with Kaiser University at the front door. That's just great too. We're heading down 19 and doing a lot of economic development that way. Now we're working our way north on 19 from Main Street. But we're also working with Grand Boulevard, and we're trying to expand that. And of course, we've got Kaiser University. We've got the old Swetman School going to be joining the city the first of the year. So, with all that growth and the things that are going on, and everybody likes it, that's true. But there's a whole line about tires aren't pretty. Well, infrastructure isn't seen, so we have some infrastructure problems that we'll be, reaching out to you individually and talking to you and hoping that you could help us with maybe 4 big projects, and so we can get all the growth and allow the utilities to go to those people that are growing in that area. Matt, would you like to say something?
Yes, as like the mayor was saying, infrastructure is very near and dear to our heart for our cities. It's the backbone for our county and our state. We appreciate all the hard work you guys did in the last years getting us appropriations for that. Special thanks to Rep. Yeager and Senator Hooper for that. We appreciate it. There's also other infrastructure that we need to talk about. We have our roads. I'm also chair of the MPO in Pasco, and we're working right now on negotiations and working trying to put together that regional MPO so we can get some more money from the federal government and bigger pots so we can have a safe and robust road system. So I appreciate everything you all have done. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Within the next month, we'll be opening the second fire station, so you're all welcome to come. We'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. John Hoover from the City of Newport Richey. And I'd also be remiss in not calling out our property appraiser for Pasco County, Mr. Mike Wells, sitting in the back there. Wave to everyone, let them know you're here.
Good morning.
He's a man of little words, but big actions. So go ahead, Mr. Hoover.
Good morning, Chairman Hogan, Senators and Representatives. Thanks for the opportunity to address you here today.
For the record, my name is John Eric Hoover, and I have the honor and privilege to serve as Mayor of the City of Port Richey. On behalf of our City Council, our staff, and the residents we serve, I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you for your continued partnership and for the work you do every day for the people of Pasco County and the state of Florida. The support and collaboration between our local and state leaders really does make a difference, and we're very grateful for it. I want to give a very special thank you to Senator Hooper and Representative Yeager for sponsoring our appropriations last year and for staying engaged throughout the entire process. Because of your leadership, commitment, and hard work, we were able to move forward with projects that are already making a real positive impact in Port Richey, improving public safety, strengthening infrastructure, and enhancing the quality of life for our residents. You both are always amazing to work with, and we're forever grateful for all that you do for our community. Now, I do want to mention that our city, like many others in this area, is still recovering from the storms we've weathered. Even with those challenges, the assistance and investments you've helped bring to Port Richey will continue to have a huge and lasting impact, and we're very thankful for that. Looking ahead, we're bringing forward new projects this year that will build on that momentum and continue moving our city in the right direction. We appreciate your willingness to consider and support them as we keep working diligently to make Port Richey a stronger and more resilient community. Please know that my door and the doors of City Hall are always open to each of you. If there's ever a way that myself or the city could be of any help, we're just a phone call away. Please make that call if you need us. Thank you again for your partnership, your service, and your dedication to the people of Port Richey, Pasco County, and the state of Florida. I look forward to seeing you all in Tallahassee when we visit this coming January. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Hoover.
Pasco County Mosquito Control District has acted on several items previously raised by this delegation. After careful consideration, the board decided to abandon plans for a new campus and instead deem the property surplus. We listed the property for sale and is now under contract with a buyer for a price above asking. While closing will take some time due to permitting and rezoning, this reflects our commitment to addressing your interests and responsibly and efficiently. For the second consecutive year, the Pasco County Mosquito Control District has lowered property taxes beyond the rollback millage rate, providing meaningful tax reduction to our residents. Looking ahead, we ask for your continued support in ensuring safe and responsible legislation governing the commercial use of drones. Aerial mosquito control operations occur at low altitudes in and around communities, and the growing use of commercial drones can cause conflicts that can affect our ability to operate safely and effectively. Thoughtful legislation will protect public safety and essential services that we are able to provide for mosquito control. We're also focused on the evolving mosquito-borne disease landscape. As Pasco County transitions from rural to dense urbanized neighborhoods, we're seeing new public health challenges. Rising global temperatures, increased international travel, and range expansions of mosquito species are already impacting Florida. These shifts are not theoretical. They're happening now, and they demand our vigilance. In Florida, we've now seen repeated local transmission of dengue in multiple counties, including Pasco. It's time that we recognize dengue virus as an endemic disease in our area. This reality requires proactive surveillance, coordination with healthcare and environmental partners, such as what we've done in creation of the Pasco One Health Alliance, and sustained investments in prevention and control measures. The economic impact of our work cannot be overstated. Effective mosquito control allows residential, commercial, and tourism development to continue safely. Without it, communities face higher health risks, reduced public property values, and diminished appeal to businesses and visitors. Our operations support Pasco County's growth in protecting health, quality of life, and economic development. The Pasco County Mosquito Control District remains committed to leading those efforts through science-based operations, collaboration, and community education, without letting misinformation distract us. Our mission is to safeguard public health, and as our county grows, that responsibility has never been more important. In closing, I want to thank you again for your support and oversight, and the Pasco County Mosquito Control District will continue operating transparently, efficiently, and strategically to protect residents of Pasco County and sustain these vital public health services for years to come. We just ask for your continued support in doing so. And don't let the cold weather fool you. As soon as the temperatures rise tomorrow, mosquitoes will be back out. So keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Sean Crane. I'm the Chief Judge of the 6th Judicial Circuit of Pinellas and Pasco Counties. I appreciate the opportunity to be heard here today, and I want to, as those who have come before me, I want to thank you all for your time and your effort. I want to thank you for your support for the courts in the past and ask for that to continue in the future. I would be remiss if I didn't mention your specific support for our Veterans Court. We have one of the most robust Veterans Courts in the state of Florida, and your continued support for that, recognizing that our veterans, when they come back from deployment. Many times they have difficulty assimilating back into regular society. As one individual stated to me as I presided over that court, Judge, I'm a Marine recon sniper. What job do you have for me in Pasco County now? So we need to recognize the important and the difficult challenges that many of those veterans, and I thank those veterans in the audience here today, face that are different than our regular citizens, and your continued support allows us to do that. Your continued support also allows us to have the specialty treatment courts, such as drug court, which, as you know, is the whole point of that is to get people out of the system who have substance use disorder, move them into a more appropriate setting, and allow them to be contributing members of our society. And we thank you once again for your support of our specialty courts here in Pasco County, and more specifically the Sixth Circuit as well. So we're much appreciative of that. We're appreciative of the fact that it's been the environment that we're in now, and that's been mentioned previously. The environment we're in now politically is such that safety is a concern for all of those individuals that enter into our courthouses and use our facilities. Safety is a concern for the jurors, the citizens, the staff, the state attorneys, the public defenders, and everyone who works in that because of the vitriol that we now experience as it relates to our processes within our legislative processes, our judicial processes, and our executive processes. And I appreciate the fact that I know you're all going to be approached about that in the future, not only for yourselves, but for those within the judicial branch as well. So I will thank you in advance for that support. I am available to each and every one of you at any point in time in the future that you need to have any questions answered with regard to the court. I know I've spoken many times with Senator Burgess. We've dealt with veterans issues, for instance, in the past, and I will continue to be available to you all in the future. Anything that I may do or say or be able to help you out, answer any questions you may have in the future with regard to the judicial needs. So I thank you once again for your time and your effort here today. Appreciate you taking from me. I'm now appreciative that I no longer must be elected. I must be appointed for life now, so that's actually a pretty good thing. And I'll take full advantage of that. But I appreciate you've given me this opportunity. Thank you once again, and remember, I'm just a phone call away, and I'll meet you, not unlike our clerk, I'll meet you here, I'll meet you in Tallahassee, I'll meet you wherever, or your local diner in your local area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And then after Mike Morrell will be Jeff Larson.
Good morning. My name is Skylar Alexander. I have the privilege of serving as the Government Community Relations Manager at Habitat for Humanity Tampa Bay Gulf Side. I'm joined here by Candy Hagler. She's a proud veteran and serves as our Executive Director here in Pasco County. Our affiliate is blessed with the opportunity to serve the affordable housing needs of Pinellas, West Pasco, and Hernando counties. Although the wonderful state of Florida continues being a popular place to live, there remains an ever-growing need for affordable home ownership. Unfortunately, many of our healthcare workers, first responders, and teachers are faced with this challenge. Make no mistake, this is a problem that affects people of all ages, from young families trying to find their first home, to seniors on fixed incomes looking for a place to retire. The root of the problem is simple. House prices have skyrocketed in recent years, while wages have not kept pace. This has made it increasingly difficult for people to afford a home, especially in major cities and coastal areas such as districts you all represent. As a result, many Floridians are struggling to keep up with rising rents, home prices, or are being forced out of their communities altogether. With that being said, I'd like to highlight the great work being done by our affiliate to address these issues. Foremost, we are solely focused on home ownership. Our affiliate sells homes at a 0% interest to households who are unable to qualify for a traditional mortgage. To help ensure homeowners' success, they are required to complete our education program, which now consists of 38 classes. These classes cover a wide range of topics, such as budgeting, being a good neighbor, and general home maintenance. By participating in this program, homeowners are able to build a strong foundation for their family's future. Our organization has been working tirelessly to address the affordable homeownership crisis here in our community. With the help of volunteers and community partners alike, we have proudly served over 1,100 families and have most recently dedicated our 1,000th home. In terms of new home construction, our organization continues to be ranked in the top 3 Habitat affiliates in the entire country. One of the reasons our organization has been so successful is we understand that it takes much more than just bricks and mortar to address today's challenges. Public-private partnerships continue to be a powerful tool for achieving this goal. We stand both as a local resource and willing partner, as none of us can solve this issue alone. Thank you all so very much for your leadership here in our communities, and we look forward to working together as we continue transforming communities and lives. Thank you. God bless.
Advent Health, Jeff Larson, United School Employees of Pasco, and it'll be Anne Marie Winter of the Agency for Aging of Pasco Pinellas. And I'd like to recognize Sarah Marlowe from the Public Defender Office, another elected official in the audience. Go ahead, sir.
All right, good morning, Chairman, honorable members, friends of the Pasco County Delegation. Thank you for your commitment to serving Pasco County, and it's good to see you here this morning, and it's a pleasure to be with you. My name is Mike Merle again, and I serve as the President and CEO for Advent Health Zephyr Hills and Advent Health Connerton right here in Pasco County, and I'm here to represent all of our hospitals in Pasco County, along with Advent Health Dade City and Zephyr Hills, and my CEO colleagues Shane Bedward and Ryan Cottlbaum. Also, on behalf of our almost 4,000 dedicated healthcare professionals that are serving in our hospitals right here in Pasco County today, who are deeply rooted in a mission to deliver high-quality, compassionate care for every patient seen as a child of God. And that's what we do each and every day. I'm so proud of that. I'd like to thank the Florida Legislature for some critical areas that they've worked on over the past year, including line funding, pipeline programs that have enhanced nursing jobs and workforce, and you continue to do that, and we're so thankful for that commitment. In 2024's Live Healthy Act that brought historic wins for Florida's healthcare workforce and delivery system. Advent Health is very excited to be working with Dr. Legg and the team at the school district on Florida's first healthcare career-connected high school. More to come on that, but we're super excited about what's going on there. Advent Health looks forward to working with you this legislative session on important issues, including litigation reform for medical malpractice, increasing access to care, and payer accountability. This accountability ensures care is delivered at the right place, at the right time, in a way that increases access to care at a lower cost. We are committed to growing with our community. Pasco County continues to grow, and expanding care close to home is something that we are invested in, both leading technology, adding new jobs, and welcoming new physicians and specialists to help meet the needs of our growing community. Advent Health Westlake Chapel continues to grow, adding licensed beds, and our family practice residency program is growing. On the Zephyr Hills campus, we added off-site ER, as well as a new medical office building on the campus. Dade City is continuing to grow on that campus as well, adding new services and medical office space in that facility. Advent Health contributes to the economic vitality of our communities. In 2023 alone, Advent Health contributed over $16 billion to the state's economy, $4 billion of that right here in Pasco, in West Florida. For every one job Advent Health creates, another is created in Florida's economy. So finally, we are honored to continue to work with you as friends and colleagues in Pasco County to support the citizens of this great county. So thank you for your service, and please let us know if there's a way we can support you in this upcoming legislative session. God bless.
Good morning. My name is Anne Marie Winter with the Area Agency on Aging of Pasco Pinellas, and I am honored to be joined today by one of my board members, Ann Corona, who I think you all know. The Area Agency on Aging of Pasco Pinellas provides services to seniors, caregivers, and adults with disabilities. We've been around since 1974 and are in state statute chapter 430. I want to thank every member of the delegation for your incredible support of the seniors that live in our community, with special thanks to Senator Hooper as chair of the Appropriations Committee. In the 50 years that we have been in existence, we have served more than 1 million seniors stay and live in their homes and avoid nursing home placement. Last year, we served 63,000 Pasco and Pinellas residents with home and community-based services. These are the parents and grandparents who raised us, the teachers who taught us, the first responders who protected us, and the veterans who fought for the liberty and freedom we enjoy today. and they need a little bit of help. We receive that support to serve them from the federal and state government. We are in the general revenue budget, so we thank you each year for making sure that there is sufficient funding to serve us and the seniors that we serve. Even though we served 63,000 people last year, there are 10,000 seniors on the wait list. They have been determined eligible for our services through an evidence-based assessment, but because of funding, we are not able to serve them. So these are family caregivers. These are those living with Alzheimer's. And these are the most vulnerable seniors who would otherwise be in nursing homes. We seek your support this legislative session. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Francis.
Good morning, I'm actually Renee Shelton. I had to take Francis's place, but we are from Pace Center for Girls in Pasco, obviously. Thank you so much for your support so far. I've had the pleasure of meeting several of you in Tallahassee when we brought our girls up there for Pace Day at the Capitol, which is amazing. PACE is a school and counseling program for girls who need that little extra support in getting back on track or learning about themselves and believing in themselves, finding their potential. I've had the pleasure of being here for 18 years, so I get to see the fruits of our labor when I see my adult students walking around town in their business positions or as mothers and community members, and I think that's amazing, and I love that you still support us as well. We've been around for 40 years. PACE Pasco has been here 27 years, since 1998. Still thriving. I did bring a couple of girls here today because they can tell you more about PACE than I can. They're a much better example. So I introduced Haley and Riley, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their story.
I'd like to first start off by saying thank you for your time. I'm attending PACE to get my GED. Although I originally planned to attend public school for 4 years, that came to be a poor decision on my part. I used it to my advantage that there were so many of us. My supervision alone was their last priority. One of the many things I thrive off of at PACE is that it's a smaller school setting, which allows for smaller class sizes, a stronger sense of community, and stronger supervision. I'm well aware that there are other schools I could attend, but I felt as if it was the ideal choice for me due to my limited time and money, and frankly, I just wanted to get my education as soon as possible. PACE offers structure, discipline, and support. It's amazing going to school where your voice is heard and having other girls support your every step. We all have the same goals, we've all made mistakes along the way, and we all just want to grow and start moving forward. I'm so pleased to be in a setting that is highly encouraging towards your growth. Since it's such a small school with so few teachers don't have to make the time for you or your education. They already have plenty of time to give each student the attention they need. I never thought in a million years I'd be back in high school, let alone standing up here today. I'd like to point out that their motto is creating strong, independent women for the future. And I feel every second longer I spend at this school is a second more I'm learning about myself and how to treat the people in the world around me. This was a wonderful first step I've taken for myself, and I can't stress enough how grateful I am and how much I truly believe other girls like me could benefit from the school. And I think great things are to come of the ones who want the guidance PACE is willing to give. Thank you.
I just want to say we didn't help her write that, so I'm very proud of her.
Hi, I'm Haley Brooks, a 12th grader at PACE. I was introduced to PACE by my sister, who also attended PACE. She is the first in our family to graduate high school, and now she has a job. I'll be the second one in the family. I initially hesitated about going to PACE, but I was told it was a small, supportive environment that fits my needs. It turned out to be much more, like a second family where I feel safe and loved. It's the best thing that has happened in my life, even though not everything is perfect. Now, in less than 2 years, I'll graduate. My goal is to graduate with all A's, join the Marine Corps, and help pay for my college, and pursue my passion for helping animals.
Great job. I'm going to let that Marine Corps thing slide, but I'm sure you'll do well there.
Thank you so much for hearing from our girls. We do have our breakfast coming up May 8th, so we invite you all to join us there, and we'll see you at PACE at the Capitol in February.
Thank you. Good job, girls. Next we have Mike Trepper and Deborah Galinsky.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you, delegation, for all of your hard work. I know it's not easy, and we certainly thank you and appreciate all of your efforts. Mike Trepper, President and CEO of Pasco Kids First. Jacques Hakeem, which many of you know is our board treasurer, and just a good supporter and friend to myself and the agency. Pasco Kids First, we are celebrating 35 years as Pasco County's Children's Advocacy Center. We are one of 26 around the state of Florida. Our mission is to prevent, intervene, and heal kids from child abuse and neglect. I've sat with you locally in Tallahassee as well. I can tell you all the bad things that happen to kids in this area. I'm not going to do that because you already know what happens to kids when they're not taken care of, when adults take their anger out at them, and there's plenty of examples that I can share that you well know. I want to talk about the good things that happen, and this is one of them right here where we get a chance to talk about those things and you listen about what are really some of the needs that our children, our families are facing in this community. And also the great support. There's many nonprofit and county supporters and law enforcement that was here. We work with all of them, and so we're proud in this county to do that. We have a really strong network of people and agencies that care about kids and make sure that further things don't happen to them. I want to spend the remainder of my time just talking about something that's really, really important about funding, but I'm not going to ask you for funding. I'm going to ask you to help us access that funding quicker, more efficient, and better ways that we can quickly serve kids and families and the things that I was just speaking about. We are now close to 42 days post a contract with the state of Florida through the Attorney General's office through the Victim of Crime Act funds that are supposed to come to us. Our contract was supposed to start on October 1st, and we still don't have it. We're actually several months into receiving funding from the Bridge the Gap funding from the Attorney General's office that we still don't have. That's thousands of dollars that we are now owed from the state of Florida to do the work that we do. This happened in the spring, and we were opposed $300,000 in arrears of payments to our agency. Jacques can tell you, we're doing everything possible that we can to make sure we're efficient, that we're spending our money correctly, but this money has to come because what's happening is that we're not daycare. We are not the larger entities. We're a small nonprofit that is providing that critical public service as a second response to when kids are abused and neglect. We don't have those kind of major funds to be able to just fill the gaps. We certainly rely on those kind of state funds and other funding as well to come. And so while we're doing everything possible, I'm just going to ask you, don't cut your nose to spite your face in the sense of making sure things are done efficiently throughout the state. If there's fraud, go after it. If there's inefficiency, make it better. But while that stuff is happening, we have to make sure that we're delivering those funds and this crucial. I'm going to tell you, this week I'm sending a check back for $327 back to the state of Florida to the Department of Health. Some of that I can talk to you about staff process. $2.11 of that is for paper products that were somehow onto our grant reimbursables. I can argue all day that kids who are going through abuse and neglect need to wipe themselves when they come to our center for when they use the bathroom when they're under mental neglect. Okay, but I'm going to have to send $2.11 back to the state because we're using some of that money to provide paper products and toilet paper to kids. I can argue all day that's ridiculous, but I'll send it back just because the Department of Health is asking for that. But that's the kind of example of the things that we're going through day in and day out to make sure that we're doing right by the state. But I'm just asking you to make sure this is done efficiently because we're holding up the critical services that kids need.
If you can just wrap it up.
When we do this kind of stuff. So thank you very much for your service and your work. I'd be happy to share with you more about that when we get a chance to discuss. Thank you.
Senator Burgess, you're recognized.
Mike, real quick, walk us through, so how much money are you owed currently? How much in arrears from back pay?
So probably close to over $50,000 right now from July 1, so July through this time, and then you can probably add on another $25,000 for the other Victim of Crime Act funds that have not come yet. So we're that's including $75,000 to $100,000 that we have to float to make sure that we can stay in operation, and it's happening again in the spring.
And all this funding has been owed since July 1? That's correct. The current fiscal. And all these funds are funds you are owed from the Attorney General's office?
Through the state appropriated Bridge the Gap funds that the legislature approved on July 1. And so they've been haggling back and forth because they want to make sure things are spent correctly throughout the state, not just for us, but throughout the state. And taking things out of the budget, revising budgets, this and that and the other thing. But again, should have been done months ago. not right now when we're 4 or 5 months into the fiscal year.
What specifically are they haggling about?
Whether, how to spend, these are funds that support victims of crime. And so, whether it's the percentages of people's time, or they don't want, they're questioning things like utilities and places where we do trauma therapy, occupancy. We don't do trauma therapy with kids who have been abused in the middle of the street. We need an office, actually our office in Dade City, to do this. And so these are the kinds of, we don't mind answering questions, but let's make it efficient, make it fast enough and purposeful to be able to do this work.
Are other organizations across the state experiencing the same delays and
Yes. And so we, other people in other agencies, but our network, the Florida network of children's advocacy centers, 26 around the state, those who receive funds through this appropriation, are facing the same thing. There's no contract yet for all those centers around the state. I mean, I can get you that information. So we're not the only ones, but I'm certainly bringing it up to your attention.
So we have from July 1 to today, November 10th, we have 26 centers with victims of child abuse that these centers are not getting the money that they're due and owed.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm asking you the questions because this is important, and I'm very grateful you're bringing this up to our attention and the entire delegation. So thank you, and if you have more information you'd like to share, please get it to us because this is what we need to
I'll send it to all of your offices, specifically your center.
Thank you,
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jason Thomas, followed by Deborah Galinsky, and then followed by Laura Ospina Knight. And let me just make the point that have a email conversation with any of us or our offices. You can always go to the Florida House of Representatives site, click on the representative, or you can go to the Florida Senate website, click on the senator. There's a direct link there to email any one of us, our offices. So you are always available if you wanted to expand on what you said here, or you have further criteria that you'd like to get to us. So note that that's always an option. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning. My name is Jason Thomas, and I serve as the Chief of Business Development for Youth and Family Advocates. I want to begin by thanking each of you for your ongoing support, and your partnership makes the work that we do possible. A special thank you to Senator Hooper, Representative Yeager, for sponsoring our appropriations that we received this past legislative session, and for agreeing to sponsor our request in the upcoming session. Our two projects that we have, the first is our affordable housing at the Commons of Spear Village. Phase 1 opened in 2019 with 6 units of supportive housing for adults with developmental disabilities. Phase 2 will add 50 apartments and serve more than 100 Pasco residents. This community will include 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units for families earning up to 60% of the area median income, making this truly affordable housing. Importantly, several units will be designated for families involved in our foster care case management program, helping address one of the most significant barriers to reunification, safe and affordable housing. Additional units will support young adults who have aged out of foster care and face high risks of homelessness. The infrastructure is in place, and YFA will be ready to break ground in the first quarter of 2026, with an anticipated completion by the end of 2026. Our second project is the Center for Children and Families, which will serve as a family-centered resource designed to support families in our community. The center will co-locate core services under one roof, including the Department of Children and Families Child Protective Investigation Department, Family Support Services, our community-based care lead agency, YFA's case management, adoption, and visitation programs, prevention and diversion service providers, and other nonprofits in our community. By bringing these services together, families will have easier access to support, agencies will be able to collaborate more effectively, and a significant savings will be realized by the reduction in the cost of leased office space. These dollars can then be reinvested directly into services for families. The center will be built on 10 acres owned by YFA, adjacent to Rat House, our youth crisis center, and directly across the street from Spear Village. We anticipate breaking ground in the third quarter of 2026, with an opening planned for late 2027. These projects are achievable with your continued partnership. Together, we are creating long-term solutions that strengthen families, improve outcomes, and build a healthier, more resilient community. Thank you again for your support of youth and family advocates, and we look forward to continuing this work with each of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next we have Deborah her and then Dr. Sandra Brahman.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you today about our United Way of Pasco's Fighting Human Trafficking program. I'm joined this morning with two of my board members, Jacques Hakeem and Mike Wells. I'd like to begin with the story of hope. About 5 years ago, we got a call from Pasco Sheriff's Office about a young girl, a potential trafficking survivor. Our intensive case manager, Ben, met with her on the sidewalk outside of a local shop on US 19. She was detoxing from a variety of drugs, had all her hair shaved off, and it was about 90 pounds when she escaped her traffickers, her own family members. She had been trafficked for a long time, for as long as she could remember, and because of this, she did not even know her age or her own birthday. She was immediately admitted into our program, and through the help of our community partners, Good Samaritan Health Clinic, whose nurse, by the way, mentioned this was the worst condition she had ever seen someone in, administered all physical health treatment. Bay Area Legal, who helped with legal matters, helped us obtain her personal documents, and so many others were able to bring hope back into her life. Today, she leads a healthy life with her husband and baby girl. She is a manager of a local store here in Pasco and lives in the same unit that we once helped her get a few years back with the help of this program. Hope's story is just one of thousands across Florida. It's a privilege to be here today representing United Way of Pasco, and I want to sincerely thank this delegation for your past and continued support. A special thank you to Senator Hooper and Senator Burgess for your sponsoring our human trafficking bill in the Senate, and Representative Yeager for sponsoring it in the House. Your leadership truly saves lives. Florida ranks third in the nation for human trafficking cases, and right here in Tampa Bay, we now rank second in the state. Despite the hard work being done, there remains a critical gap in adult services. Too many survivors have nowhere to turn when they escape, and without support, they risk falling back into exploitation. United Way of Pasco's Fighting Human Trafficking program fills that gap, a transitional housing program that offers safe shelter, behavioral health, and trauma recovery, job training, education, healthcare, and legal aid. We don't just house survivors, we help them heal, rebuild, and thrive. Since 2022, we have helped over 400 survivors with a variety of services. In just the past year, we supported 24 survivors through transitional housing, 52 additional survivors through case management, and over 60 nights of emergency hotel stays that we provide across the state of Florida. Our program is one of a kind in the Tampa Bay region, and our reach extends across the state. We regularly assist law enforcement sting operations, ensuring victims are rescued and connected immediately to care. I want to thank you again all so much for your time and your unwavering support for this life-saving work that we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For your continued support of the Non-Custodial Parent Employment Program. I want to introduce our Chief of Staff, Melanie Hoffman, who's with me today. So if I'm ever not here and you see her, you'll be very, 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 very nice as you are to me. With that, I want to acknowledge support for your prior support for the Non-Custodial Parent Employment Program, which serves some 1,250 individuals a year, helping these non-custodial parents to obtain employment so that they can pay their child support. For every $1 that the state puts in, more than $4.50 is returned in the form of child support. And last year alone, more than 1,250 individuals returned on average of $6,600 in child support. This program partners very well alongside, which we're proud to be one of the few recipients of the governor's fatherhood program. It partners very well with that, and we are able to leverage those relationships to ensure that fathers are also having strong relationships with their children. Last year, the non-recurring funding was cut from $500,000 to $200,000, which significantly impacted our ability to serve more parents who are non-custodial. This resulted in our having to lay off some staff, and we are urging you to fight for that $500,000 so that we don't have to keep serving fewer parents. The other request that I have before you today that will go before this legislative body is a capital request to assist our organization in funding security. As an organization with Jewish in our name, we are not religious. We serve all people as we seek to repair the world. So everyone is very diverse of all backgrounds. But with Jewish in our name, we have been prone to threats and other security concerns. And so Senator Nick DeCeglia has sponsored on the Senate side that request to help us do more capital improvements for security, for cameras, for things that will harden our exterior. And we appreciate your support of that as well. I lastly want to note that that $200,000 that we did get this year went a long way, because with the government shut down, nothing is flowing from the feds through the state from the Department of Labor. So I also want to thank you for that, because that $200,000 kept us from shutting our doors. So thank you for your support. Thank you for working. I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Mark.
Good morning. I'd like to first start off by thanking you for your leadership. All of you up there are amazing individuals representing Pasco and Tallahassee, and we really want to tell you how much we appreciate you and all the hard work you do out there. My name is Mark Wickham. I'm the CEO of Youth and Family Advocates. But today I'm here on behalf of the Not-for-Profit Insurance Coalition, which I will be referring to as NIC. The crisis. Across the nation, not-for-profit organizations delivering essential services to vulnerable populations, such as foster care, children's services, adoptions, and other related operations, are facing mounting liability insurance costs. From shrinking coverage and carrier non-renewals to unaffordable premiums and market withdrawals, these challenges are posing major obstacles for not-for-profit providers, excuse me, regardless of their claims or loss history. Over the past year, liability insurance costs for not-for-profits in our industry alone have gone up 20 to 600%. Every dollar diverted to rising insurance premiums reduces the funding available to vital services. As insurance costs become unsustainable, not-for-profits may be forced to scale back services, reduce staff, or postpone plans for growth, directly impacting the communities we all serve. The solution. I'm not going to come up here without a solution. Amid a mounting crisis with no relief in sight, the Coalition of Florida-based not-for-profits was established, NIC for short, designed to leverage collective purchasing power to provide more affordable coverage to expand choice for not-for-profit social service agencies across the state. NIC was formed in November of 2024 and has been authorized as a 501c3. NIC is the first not-for-profit insurance trust in the state of Florida. In order to balance the risk, NIC is comprised of not only children and family services, but all sectors of not-for-profits. Quick fact, that's 102,000 not-for-profits across the state of Florida. All necessary structural components for NIC have been completed. The only missing element is funding. As with any insurance trust, NIC must bear some risk. Some excess carriers are willing to write and accept the majority of that risk. However, they require confirmation that NIC has secured startup funding before moving forward. So moving forward, we have a one-time request for $1 million to be able to see NIC, get it off the ground, and get it operational this year into next year to be able to help all not-for-profits across the state of Florida.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kathy Julian, and she'll be followed by Ida Namath. Sorry about that. And then Beverly Ledbetter.
I just have one observation. You guys have your hands in such straight. When I ask you about my priorities, you always seem to have some idea what I'm talking about, so I'm impressed. Okay, I'm here today to urge you to increase funding for our county's technical programs. These programs are where real careers begin. Many millionaires and business owners started with a trade, not a degree. We already have great teachers in classrooms, but our students still lack the tools and equipment needed to learn hands-on skills. My son attended the automotive tech program in Wesley Chapel many years ago. They didn't have proper equipment then, and I am now hearing that we don't have the proper equipment now. I know that the equipment is very expensive, but we need to provide it for our kids because you all see, you can't find a plumber. We need to have those kind of programs available. I'm also out here to ask you not to run the proposed bill for the Pasco County Mosquito Control District, and instead to consider filing a bill to disband the district altogether. As a taxpayer, I'm deeply offended by their continued misuse of public funds and lack of accountability. The district has had serious financial reporting errors, and yet I keep hearing the argument that they shouldn't be part of the county because we don't want them just as a line item. That's not a reason, that's an excuse. The Sheriff's Department, which manages a massive portion of the county budget, is a line item. Why should the Mosquito Control District be any different? The only people benefiting from their independence are the lobbyists who would lose clients if they were merged into the county. This organization came onto my radar in 2021 during the Pasco Citizens Academy. The director proudly mentioned their purchase of 2 new helicopters costing $4 million each, even though their budgeted revenue at that time was under $8 million. That alone was very alarming. Today, the executive director earns one of the highest salaries in the county, despite limited experience. She has even listed herself as the CFO on state filings. Under her watch, they've had to hold a third budget meeting 2 out of the past 3 years, something unheard of for competent financial leadership. An $18 million deficit budget was even filed with the state. You got that? Deficit budget, $18 million, not acceptable. A massive error that apparently only came out when I mentioned it to them. On top of that, her compensation includes PTO accruals and severance packages that appear to violate Florida statutes. For the past 3 years, she and her senior staff have boosted their pay by cashing in 120 hours of unused PTO annually. That's a 5% raise. Meanwhile, the district's tax revenue has increased by nearly 50% since 2021 with no clear oversight. This organization should be audited by the Florida Doge, something I believe our legislators have the ability to request. Beyond the finances, the unprofessional behavior at board meetings is astonishing. A commissioner once floated the idea of suing me for slander, a blatant attempt to silence a taxpayer's free speech. The board's own meeting agendas include statements that contradict the Constitution, limiting public comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair and members, my name is Etany Moten, and I am the Regional Counsel for the 2nd Region of Florida.
Keep going.
Okay. There are 5 regional councils. My area spans from Naples, Fort Myers, Tampa, Clearwater, Sarasota, Newport Richey, Dade City, all the way to Sebring. We are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Florida Senate. I have 14 offices and about 140 attorneys and staff. We take conflict cases from the public defender's office and are first in line for dependency cases. This year, our main priority is to ask for 2 attorneys per circuit to help with the caseload. We have 5 circuits, so that's 10 attorneys. We are also working with the Senate and the House to pass HB 177, which is a bill to allow us to take conflict cross-regional councils, which is estimated to save the state $150 million within 10 years. Thank you.
My name is Beverly Ledbetter. I spent 36 years in the Pasco County school system as a social studies teacher. Since 2011, I've been an adjunct professor at the College of Education at St. Leo University, and I'm also a master teacher at USF's Gus Stavros Center for Free Enterprise and Economic Education. I'm also excited to say that this is my 50th year as an active certified teacher in the state of Florida. Today, I'd like to address concerns about the co-location of schools of hope in our public schools. These schools undermine the Florida Constitution's stated objective to perform a uniform, efficient, safe, and secure public school system. You created Florida Statute 10002.33, which is the private takeover of public schools. The Florida legislature has created an uneven playing field. I urge you to look at and remedy some of the problems. Schools of Hope can demand that underused or vacant classrooms be turned over to them. However, there is no definition of what exactly an underused space is. A classroom set aside for counseling students who are experiencing trauma, the death of a family member, domestic abuse. The children need a safe and confidential space to share their feelings to trained social workers and a hospice. But that room does not generate FTE, so now it is fair game to be taken over. A clear, concise definition of what constitutes underused or vacant classrooms needs to be established. A school of hope was to be co-located in underperforming schools, but that has been changed as well. In the Florida statute that I referenced, an administrator or a teacher in a school of hope does not have to meet any of the requirements for a public school teacher. They do not have to be certified. The only requirement placed on these teachers who are supposed to work with the most struggling students is that they have no criminal record. How can someone who has not gone through a rigorous teacher training program and has not passed those state-mandated certification tests effectively teach struggling students? This is particularly troubling to me as an adjunct professor at St. Leo University who oversees student teachers. The KIP team has 4 schools operating in Jacksonville. 2 have received Ds, placing them in the bottom 4% of schools, but they are applying for co-location in public schools, and a district can stop say no. And schools of hope, by statute, are exempt from local school policies, a double standard operating at one facility. Schools of hope, under current rules, pay no maintenance fees, no utility fees, no contribution towards school lunches or facility upkeep, no transportation cost. How is that fair? And how is the use of facilities such as the media center, computer labs, sports fields, how are they prioritized? I urge you to re-examine the issues at School of Hope. Our public schools are the overwhelming choice of parents. Our public schools and our public school students demand and deserve better.
I bring you a statute, but I am here to share a couple of thoughts as a former public official. And go Army, 69 to 75, since y'all are making comments about veterans here today. I congratulate you for being available to all constituents, expressing not only their concerns, but also as they speak of their neighbors' concerns. Because I reflect, Jesus spoke to the leaders of his parents' faith this commandment in Matthew 22:39. And the second commandment is, love your neighbor as yourself. Several other faiths have similar expressions of instruction in the manner in which we should treat those around us. As you consider each proposed legislative action this session, please think about whether it will help those who are most mentally, physically, and economically vulnerable among us. Since we cannot take anything with us as we leave this life, how do you want to be remembered? Not only by your close loved ones, I hope each of you have some of those, but by those to whom you are an example of leadership by being elected to serve. As you tackle the weighty issues of affordability to everyday working people and those unable to work because of mental or physical conditions that are not readily apparent, as you oversee the delivery of regulated activities such as the providers in the school tuition voucher system, the insurance rate setting process, the insurance adjusting system, the legislative oversight of electricity rates, the housing of prisoners, public service health, and more. The vulnerable need attention, the wealthy will do just fine. I encourage you to not only consider the words and wants of the ones lobbying you on a daily basis, but also the quiet, mostly unheard needs of the next generation, the public school student, the person who lost their job due to tariffs and market shifts, the dignity of the elderly living in Lacucci, riding a bus to Zephyr Hills or Wesley Chapel for the quality of life needed life-sustaining health care. The state employees using their time to earn a living while in service to their neighbors, to name a few examples. We all die. Will you be remembered for improving our community, serving your neighbors in a manner to make this a better nation? Real reflection on the outcome for the entire community is what I beseech of you today. Thank you.
And honorable members of the Florida Legislative Pasco Delegation. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. This is my first time.
Could you slide a little bit closer to the microphone?
I am the mother of Walter Shoemaker, who passed away October 22nd, 2023 at River Road in Newport Richey. Since then, 3 people have died and there's been about 47 overdoses. Yet the house still operates because our city and county laws prevent action. Inside city limits of Newport Richey, code requires proof of a crime like a drug sale to declare a nuisance. Outside city limits, Pasco County requires a formal complaint and a finding of an imminent threat. 6416 River Road sits right on the boundary. City police answer the calls, but county must file the nuisance cases. Because neither defines repeated overdoses as a nuisance, no one has the authority to act. It's tying the hands of our law enforcement. The Good Samaritan law protects those who seek help, but also means overdose evidence cannot be provided as a legal activity. So even after multiple deaths, the property can't be classified as a nuisance unless a drug sale is proven. This is why we need a duty to act in addition to the Good Samaritan law. There are 6 states that have this law: Minnesota, Rhode Island, Vermont, Wisconsin, Hawaii, and Washington. They have enacted duty to act and duty to report laws requiring citizens to render responsible assistance or report emergencies. Florida should join them by adopting this version of the very same framework. Key provisions of the Walter Shoemaker law would establish a legal duty to act, to report when someone is in clear medical distress. So I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to find somebody to help me, help our law enforcement. We have some of the very best sheriffs in this county and the very best detectives. And right now, the way the law is wrote, the Good Samaritan law is an amazing law, but it's a very vague law. So the 3 people, including my son down here who passed away, their deaths don't mean anything. As far as a nuisance house and an abandoned house, it's a known drug house. And even the homeowners are protected under the Good Samaritan law. The sheriffs cannot collect any evidence, whether there's known drug distribution or anything there at that time. It's just protecting too many people. So I ask you to please contact me and talk to me a little bit more about this.
Chair, question?
McGregor.
Is this the case, or is this the deal where if they call 911, they're protected?
They are, but the problem is it's protecting everyone. It should just protect the caller and the person that's in distress. There was 6 other people in the house when my son died, and they have the right to plead the 5th Amendment. They don't have to cooperate in the investigation, and if they're not going to cooperate, they shouldn't be protected.
Gotcha, that's all. Thank you, sorry for your loss, but it's,
thank you.
I appreciate you bringing it forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Rep Steele?
Yeah, can you see me afterwards or provide your information? I'd like to talk to you about it. Thanks.
Next up is Jessica Lewis, followed by David Wallace, followed by Sarah Sullivan.
Good morning, members. Thanks for your time this morning. I'm Jessica Lewis from the Tampa Bay Estuary Program. I'm the Special Projects Manager there, so I do a little bit of a lot of different things, but I'm here to talk to you about our legislative priorities today. So our mission as a special district of Florida is protecting and restoring the Tampa Bay watershed, which includes Hillsborough, Pinellas, Manatee, Polk, and Pasco counties. That's why I'm here today. I want to bring up our recent economic valuation that showed that a clean and healthy Tampa Bay injects $32 billion annually of economic output into our local economy. Something that provides us that much impact on our economy really deserves our investment. So to another report, the State of the Bay, we saw two different needs coming out of that. One is an investment in infrastructure for wastewater treatment plants. Municipalities are desperate for funding to upgrade treatment plants to bring them into the 21st century. And also the need to
about legalizing naturopathy, also called naturopathy, and I want to thank so many of you who have spoken with me over the last year, especially Senator Burgess, who I know just stepped out, about this issue. As some of you may know, naturopathic doctors attend 4 years of medical school. They study anatomy, pharmacology, physiology, but they also study nutrition, herbal medicine, homeopathy, and movement. They specialize in helping those who have chronic diseases, and they
My name is J.J. Holmes, and before I start, I want to say that I'm speaking from the back, because this meeting is not wheelchair accessible. So, when I say people with disabilities get left behind, I mean it, literally. Anyway, I came here today to talk about managed care, or actually, to talk about how managed care does not care. And since it's almost Christmas, I figured I'd put a little holiday spin on it. Take it away, Dad. I mean, Santa.
Ho, ho, ho. What do we have here? Room full of legislators who's been naughty this year?
Can you get the microphone a little closer so we can hear you?
That's right, boys and girls. I checked my list twice, and you're all on it because of this managed care scheme you're cooking up with ours our budget way before we ran. And let me tell you something, even the other reindeer, yes, the ones who laugh and call Rudolph names, will draw the line at this one-size-fits-all managed care plan. The idea is colder than frosted snowman. I've already heard all your excuses, but Santa, we just want to get them better services. Except, boys and girls, I've seen what happens when managed care takes over programs like this, with their half-baked ideas that prioritize profit over people. In fact, last week Scrooge called up and said, Santa, what's going on in Tallahassee? These folks are starting to make me look generous. So here's the deal. The holiday season is about giving. It's about caring for the most vulnerable among us, not shipping them off to fend for themselves on managed care. I'm here today to give you a choice. You can either embrace those values and fix what's broken without managed care, or you can spend next year explaining to every child in Florida why Santa put their legislators on the naughty list for life. And trust me, once you're on the naughty list, it's really hard to get off. Just ask the Grinch and Anthony Sabatini. Make the right choices, girls and boys, because I always know who's been naughty and who's been nice. Oh, oh, oh.
Thank you very much. Very creative. Amanda Mockery is next with Christine Zimmer, followed by Lorette Phillipson.
Hello, and thank you for inviting us to speak today. My name is Amanda Masseri. With me is Rebecca Granda. We are registered and licensed dietitians. We are here representing the Florida Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics.
Documentary tax stamp tax on real estate transactions. I believe it is 16.5% of the 70 cents per $100 of the sale price that goes into that fund. For decades, this funding has helped counties like Pasco build and rehabilitate thousands of homes in fiscal year 21-22 alone. Pasco received $7.6 million in CHIP fundings, supporting nearly 1,000 residents and generating over $78 million in local economic impact. However, recurring legislative sweeps and caps redirected over $2.3 billion statewide away from housing between 2001 and 2020. While the 23 Live Local Act restored full funding and expanded the development incentives, it also shifted much of the focus to large-scale developer projects rather than direct homeowner assistance. I come to you with solutions. Policy recommendation to protect the fund's original purpose, Florida should require that at least half, if not more than the Sadowski allocations flow through the local SHIP programs, supporting homeownership, home repair, and affordable accessory units. Pasco's homeowners and small property owners need equal access to the incentives now primarily reserved for large corporate developers. This is not okay, and you can amend your policies and laws. Number 2, the Burt Harris Jr. Private Property Rights Act. The Burt Harris Act provides a remedy when a government regulation unfairly burdens private property. Recent court rulings have expanded its reach, making it easier for developers to claim compensation. Even when local government simply denies a rezoning or land request for Pasco County, which faces increasing, no way I'm gonna get through all this. The bottom line is, I don't believe that this legislative body intended for this act to be substantially used and abused by the developers all the time. Please stop the nonsense and use your powers to amend this act and put some teeth into it to stop the abuse and misuse. Save Our Homes Amendment, modernize our Save Our Homes by exploring revisions or elimination of the recapture factor and phased equalization mechanism to reduce inequities while retaining protection for seniors and low income. Homeowners term limits, you already have those on the bill, but don't let the existing commissioners have another 8 years. Also, we like single district voting. I tried to get it all in.
The Corrections Ombudsman's bill, a measure that will strengthen confidence in Florida's correctional system by ensuring positive outcomes, safety, and respectful treatment of everyone. The bill establishes an independent ombudsman's office within the Florida legislative branch to provide an impartial avenue for addressing concerns and enhancing conditions inside our state correctional facilities. A diverse 13-member Corrections Ombudsman's Committee will